Welcome to the Anti-Deficit Model training video. In this video, you'll learn what the anti-deficit model is and how to incorporate it in your tutoring sessions as a writing consultant with Monroe Community College. What is the anti-deficit model? The anti-deficit model is premised on the idea and pedagogical orientation that simply working harder and focusing on a student's weaknesses is the main and only considerations educators must make when approaching teaching and tutoring. It emphasizes focusing on students' strengths while not ignoring where they can develop and need help. This model informs TAAC's mission statement and is our governing ethos regarding how we approach tutoring and supplemental learning. Deficit thinking focuses on what a student is not good or proficient at and filling that gap. An anti-deficit perspective asserts that marginalized students are not at risk, but educational institutions are at risk of failing them. These institutions are at risk of losing out on the diverse perspectives and experiences that these students contribute to the learning environment. Anti-deficit thinking recognizes that in order to educate, we must mobilize what students are good at in order to meet their needs. To implement the pedagogy of the anti-deficit model, there are a few things you have to keep in mind when engaging with students. You must believe that all your students can learn. You have to have high expectations for your students. This will directly have a positive impact on their success and achievement. You have to convince students that high expectations are attainable and possible. You have to strategize with them and your team by creating reachable, realistic, intermediate acceleration goals. And finally, you have to mitigate their fear of failure by helping them see their successes in short-term goals. Some questions you might want to ask yourself during a writing consultation are as follows. Ask yourself, what does the student know now? Or what knowledge do they come to this consultation with already? 2. What do they need to know to meet the next short-term goal? 3. How can I help them deploy their strengths to meet the next short-term goal? And finally, 4. Do they feel supported by me? It is so important that students feel supported. That feeling of support will lend itself to them in order for them to make the best use of their strengths. So what are some other ways the anti-deficit model can be put into action? Remember, it's a style of thinking and a praxis that you have to work at in all of your consultations. Instead of having thoughts like, the course material is way over their head, so they cannot comprehend the material, try this instead. What sort of short-term goals can we come up with in order to get the student where they need and want to be? Or you may think, this student has an attitude problem due to their frustration with their classes. Try this instead. This student needs more positive reinforcement about the things they know and the progress they are making. Or you might also think, this student needs to work harder. Try this thought instead. How can I help this student develop a realistic and manageable writing agenda that fits with their social, home, work, and school life? If you can reframe the way in which you approach consultations, it will not only enrich you as a writing consultant and tutor, but it will enrich them by reframing their perceived weaknesses and their strengths.